Um, Hi, Andrew. Great to connect today. I love connecting with you. It's just so cool. And obviously we're kind of doing this interview with each other, connection with each other today, so that we can share what we're creating together with our music and magic workshop. And yeah, just have this opportunity to connect with each other and share, what we're doing together. I mean, if I kick off, I just love the fact that we've met and we're creating this together. Because for me, creating this workshop of music and magic, for me, magic's been in my life, and I've been teaching magic for 23 years. But music has been something that's emerged relatively recently. But it's something that's really grabbed my heart, that I love so much, and I came to a point where it's like I would really love to combine music and magic together, and I really love to work with musicians. I remember saying that, and then literally, just as I said that, you just magically appear out of the ether. It's just like, oh my God, I got to work with this amazing musician in Melbourne, and not only that, he runs a school of music.
Incredible. Yeah, yeah.
And then have the
Yeah,
opportunity
well,
to train you. It's just been amazing, to the point now where we're just like, well, let's work together, let's create something together, which is, this workshop's the beginning of that.
and it's funny you say that you've had the magic and now not the music. Well, I've had the music all my life, and there has been magic, but I haven't really put those things together. So it's the first time I'm really embodying the music and the magic, and it's like, wow, this is I thought I was playing music all my life, and I was, but it was a chore. Whereas now it's just a oh my God, it's just so amazing to then to have that experience, and then see that experience around me, um, which which is very exciting, when it comes to then taking other people on the journey. Allowing other people that space, as we did in the workshop the staff, all the teachers at the school, where that first jam was like, oh yeah, yeah, we kind of felt that we're all looking at each other. Whereas the second jam, we were just whoa, just in the magic, in the love, and connecting through this beautiful jam. You know.
Yeah, it was amazing, wasn't it? And that's actually a good headway to share with people what we're creating, because we're leveraging off that event. Because what we did with your team is that we did a 3-hour event, where we kind of introduced the premise that you're either kind of learning and creating music with your assumptions, or you're creating and learning music with your imagination. And just kind of presented that as a premise to everybody. And having presented that premise, what we did is got everyone to jam in from their assumptions, as you said, and then that created a certain reality. And because we're in a room of musicians, it was pretty cool. And I was actually playing as well, because everyone was in Melbourne in Andrew's studio, a rehearsal studio, and I was here in Devon in the UK, and I was playing my electric guitar, because we were playing a 12-bar blues together, and I'm playing and in my assumptions, and it was like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm playing, this is good. But I remember being kind of playing along, but I remember in my own assumptions going, okay, am I on the 1 or am I on the 4? I'm not sure. But then what we did is we purposely shifted everyone from their assumptions to their imagination. And that's part of what we'll do again in the first evening of the event. And then I was blown away by the impact of when we shifted everyone, the connection and the magic of the music. It was the potency of that. The music was just coming straight through to me here in Devon, and I just felt so connected with everyone. I was playing. I haven't played the blues like that ever before. It was just amazing. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I'm still impacted by it. That was a month ago.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't even remember when we were playing in our identity. I don't even remember what I was playing. I can't remember now what I was playing. I remember sitting there. I even remember the way I was, where I was facing, but I can't remember what was in my hands. But I remember coming out of that, going into sovereignty, and seeing these two Stratocasters, and no one wanted to play them, and I just was like, I'd love to play that, and then sat and played this Strat, and it was like I was in this pool of this amazing feeling and sound, and then I would just look up at everyone, whereas before I was looking at everyone like, what are we doing, or or listening, like, whereas trying to connect with what was going on around me. But when we were in sovereignty, it was just just like like they say, trees, the roots of trees connect underneath the ground. Well, that's what we were doing. We were just all connected, playing together. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really pronounced, wasn't it? It was amazing.
So amazing that you had that experience. Like, this workshop is going to be, we're going to have people in the room like we did, but we're also, we, you know, the online thing is a reality now, and it's so amazing. So we'll have people online for this workshop too, and it still works.
Hmm.
You were on mute, so we couldn't. That doesn't work, but we can't hear you. But then you can still be jamming to what you're hearing and connecting to what's going on either way, whether identity or sovereignty, that's incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, we've got the technology to do that. It was really, honestly, it was quite profound for me having that experience. I remember afterwards just walking around going, what do I do now? This is so exciting. I'm going to play some more blues, more music. Um, the great thing is, and this kind of leads into the second night, is that it's really compelled me, that event has really compelled me to want to love, to want to keep learning and to love learning. It's really dropped me into that more. Um, you're not just playing blues, but every genre of music. Like since then, I've been playing some classical music. I've been, exploring funk. I've just been kind of exploring this whole reggae. It's just amazing. Just it's opened up the whole kind of love for learning and exploration, and that's what we're going to do on the second day. Because just to frame up, we're doing 3 hours on I think it's on the 18th of April, and then 3 hours on the 19th,
Yeah.
which is going to be the evening in Melbourne and morning here in the UK. And having what we're doing on that first night is making that shift from assumptions to imagination, and then the second night is all about what I call it, the whole premise of innocence. Is how we can. That's the bridge between the two, and between assumptions and imagination. It's the ability to go into innocence that takes us beyond our assumptions and drops us into our love for learning and our ability to continue learning and to be in the unknown and to be in awe and wonder. And it opens us up to love as well. And that's the thing, is that once you start experiencing love and music together, it just literally starts creating a whole new world. And that's what we're creating together, this kind of magical environment of music and love. Because that's the thing about music, is it's so on the vibration of love. It's like the first music, the music is in our hearts because music is our heart. It's like the fundamental beat of the heart is the rhythm of life. So that's just wanted to share. That's what we're kind of moving into in the second day as well.
I remember when I think of all the training that I've done with you, the most probably the most memorable night was when I sat and played, and you asked me to play in sovereignty, and then you asked me to play a song. Sorry, in identity, and then in sovereignty, go to innocence and play a song. And I really felt the shift was just incredible. And now now I've been practicing it quite a lot. Practice it all day, all the time. Practicing the premise all the time, and becoming aware of when I'm being triggered, when I'm experiencing beliefs and assumptions, and when I'm performing from that place, then I'm looking outward at what I should be playing, how I should be playing, being influenced from outside of myself.
Mm.
Whereas when I'm going into innocence, going into sovereignty, I'm experiencing the music coming through me rather than right, and then it. through me, and then however it comes out, I'm connecting with that rather than connecting with the external. And then of course it naturally connects with the external because if there's someone there, they're going to hear it and experience the difference. And as a musician, I'm experiencing that regularly now. And sometimes it's even at a gig, 2 or 3 times at a gig, stopping myself and recognizing, oh yeah, being triggered. Okay, just come back to myself. What would I love to play now? Simple steps, and which complete game changers.
That's brilliant. And that reminds me, because Andrew and I are at 2 very different spectrums of the musical spectrum. You know, where Andrew has been playing music his whole life, it's a very new journey for me, relatively speaking. And I think that's worth mentioning, is that this event is for people who are both just starting out this journey, who want to start the journey of music, but it's also for very accomplished musicians as well. Because we actually had people who weren't musicians at all, that first event, people in your team. And initially, from their assumptions, they're like, oh, I'm not a musician. I mean, that's an assumption for a start, you know, I don't play music. In fact, I had that assumption for many years. I'm not musical. That's a good example of an assumption. Yeah. And so those people kind of like they were floundering a little bit initially. And then when they shifted to their imagination, like there was one guy he picked up this kind of tribal instrument he was sharing, wasn't he? And when he was in his imagination doing what he loved, he was just like in fascination listening to it and hearing it. And then he just started making stuff up. It was just like, and then he just realized how musical he actually was from doing that, which was so cool.
Exactly. Yeah. And there was another guy who had shifted from his main instrument to something else, and in sovereignty, he had a djembe, and then slowly tweaked it, and then I was with him in the transition. I witnessed his transition as he's telling me, oh, I can't play this. I can't, this is not I'm out of my comfort zone here, Andrew. I can't do this. And as I just lifted the drum off so the air could get out, and then suddenly he became this innocent man. He was a man in his childish innocence and started to just hit it. And then, oh, that feels good. Oh, that's nice. And then he was just joining in with what was going on, playing this drum. Like, wow, yeah, that's cool. I like that. And just experimenting, because he went back to innocence. And there was no assumptions. It was just him being playful with his drum and connecting with everyone else.
Right.
Like for the musicians that are, well, experienced musicians like myself, there's, before this, I knew I could play, but it's like, yeah, I can play. Yeah, I'm a good singer. Yeah, I can write songs, but I don't deserve anything else. I'm not good enough for that, or no one wants to hear that, or all of these assumptions is just completely undermining the music that I am, the music that I play.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the stories that you share now about the impact that your music has. Like you were only sharing with me, performing at your brother's 60th the other day, and I mean, you can elaborate, but I just love how you kind of got together with your brothers and performed. It was like a reunion, wasn't it? Of this kind of 60s cover band that all these great 60s songs. But it really stayed with me what you said about how you created this space for people to be able to fall in love and have a great time and be themselves, And I just love that, because that's exactly the space that we're creating in this environment. Is that opportunity to just love, be in love music, and that freedom to just be all of yourself. I really love that, because it just reminds me of like, I grew up in an environment in the western suburbs of Sydney, and like my schooling environment was very harsh. Like I remember being at my first music lesson, and it's just not something that you did. I was just like, because it was like I would have been a wimp if I'd pursued music in high school, And so I didn't. And so that's where I kind of developed this assumption that I'm not musical, because it was too exposing, because it was so rough. You just get beaten up for the smallest thing, And so I just went, no. And it took so many years to come to a place where this is something that I love and I'm going to devote myself to it, you know. And whereas we're creating this environment where you can be all of yourself and you can learn and you can grow, and it makes a big difference, the learning environment and the space that you create. So yeah, I just wanted to share that as well.
Yeah, and it reminds me that even that band, the Running Bears that we were playing with. I mean, and I've had a lot of resistance to that band. I've been the one that doesn't want to do it, but I feel myself. I can feel myself shifting into, this is a great opportunity here. Just play and just love it and enjoy it, and then I feel that energy shift. And when I think of that band and all of those musicians, we all grew up. We all went to school together, and in a school that offered no music program or a program similar to what you had, but there was this music program that happened outside the system, created by all the students. All the rehearsal room was built by the students. The gear was bought by the students, applying for money to council, and they even dug out the room. Teachers had nothing to do with it. They had nothing to do with it. It was completely outside the school system, the education system, and it changed our lives, changed my life. I just never stopped doing what I was doing at high school, but outside class time, you know. And that reminds me of what we're doing. It's just, you know, there is a way of learning that is mostly out there, and this is just outside that system. It's stepping outside that system and saying, okay, this is a much more connected way, and yeah, just very simply bringing love into it, and love to ourselves, and then allowing the love for learning to come from there, rather than come from signing up for step 101, step 102, step 103, and not having a good experience of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because that's an extension of creating from our assumptions, is that we think that there are certain methods and systems and processes that we have to go along in order to learn, but that actually just keeps creating obstacles and thresholds to our learning, and that's where a lot of people can start learning because they have an enthusiasm, and then they just stop. You know, there's so many people who have gone down that path, and I have in the past as well. Whereas what we're creating is the ability to effortlessly cross those thresholds and to create a momentum of learning along the way, which is, you know, I just think that's cool, particularly when it comes to, I think, learning music and an instrument, because there are initial thresholds so that you come across. Like, I remember when I first started learning the guitar, for instance, my fingers hurt. I was like, oh, and it gets cold here in winter. It's like, oh, the tips of my fingers are going white. But, you know, to be able to acknowledge that and to shift the focus back to the end result of what I love, has created that kind of ongoing momentum, you know. So that's the other kind of environment that we're creating. You know, it's to be able to cross any threshold, rather than come up against it and then give up. You know, I heard an interview on a business program recently with the managing director of Fender International, and he said during lockdown, I'm not sure whether he said it was Fender itself or every guitar manufacturer, but he was saying over 1 million guitars were sold during like 1 year of lockdown. Over 1 million, because obviously people are locked down, they're wanting to pick up an instrument and play it. But I kind of wonder how many people are still playing, you know? Yeah. So, and that's the other thing about what we're creating, is to be able to pick up play an instrument that you love, whether it's your own voice as well, and then to keep building that momentum and grow. Because it's such a great medium to express our greatness through and express our heart through. And the other thing about learning is, what I love about music is that you can learn something and you can apply it straight away and get a result. That's the thing that I love as well, as opposed to kind of learning theory and it stays theoretical. Because I think, well, great learning is when you learn something, apply it, get a result, and then you kind of transform as a result of that learning, you know.
Yeah. I've got a couple of interviews tomorrow for some gigs I've got coming up, and I'm so looking forward to it. I really tune into where I'm going, what I'm going to do, and what I would love to play. I'll sit playing songs and then just, oh, this would be nice, this would be nice, and then I prepare myself for the whole thing, knowing and even that end result, tuning into the end result, and then just enjoying the space, and then when I'm there, just being open to what's going on rather than trying to think. Well, in the past, I would have been trying to make sure I could say the right things and get the right message across and make sure I play the right song and don't stuff it up and whatever was going on, whatever was getting in the way of me just being free and open and being able to play.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, because it also reminds me of you sharing that is the other end result that we're creating for people in this event is that they can be all of themselves all the time. You know, like you mentioned the word sovereignty. You know, that it's like you can be in your own sovereign space. We were talking earlier about how it's your stage. You can be all of yourself in your stage. Like even in the interviews, it's your stage. You can share all of yourself, and then when you're performing, it's your stage. Um, and that's the thing, is like the stage doesn't necessarily have to be, screaming fans, and it can be, or it can be here. Like this can be my stage. Quite often, my stage is playing for myself, and then playing for my wife and my son. There's an intimacy there. I love what you were just saying. That's the other end result. Is that it's your space, it's your stage for you to be able to express whatever's in your heart. And again, that's what I love about music. It has that. It does that for us. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so I just wanted to. I guess we could just say now, like, just to remind people that it's available for people who are in Melbourne. Um, because you would also have a kind of constraint with your rehearsal room. Like, how many people could you actually have in there?
We had 20 in the room last time, and that was pretty good. 25 would be comfortable. 30 would probably be pushing it.
Mm,
But we could squeeze in. It's amazing how space expands when more or less people are there.
yeah, cool. And then obviously, wherever you are in the world, you can connect online, which is great. This
It's just
definitely going to have impact both. In fact, there's a kind of an amplification. The fact that you guys will be there in the room and we'll be here around the world. There's kind of like a synergy in that as well. It's going to be quite magical.
It's gonna be so exciting having both of them at the same time. Mm.
In fact, that reminds me, because we've got a Facebook event at the moment, haven't we? Where its kind of emphasis is on the physical event. What I thought would be good is to create another event that gives emphasis on Facebook, that gives emphasis to the online event, um, just so people know that it is online as well as it being in a physical location.
Yeah, good idea. But there are two lots of tickets. You can buy a ticket for the studio, and you can buy a ticket online, and they're both on that event. But yeah, we could do that. Create the other one.
Just to give that emphasis.
Mm.
Cool. Well,
Mm.
I think we've done a pretty good job conveying what we're creating together.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Mm.
I just think the fact that you kind of you put yourself out there from the outset by going, well, let's just do this with my team. I remember you going, I don't know what's going to happen, but let's see what happens. And knowing we created such a great end result with your team. Not just the fact that you've got your own school of music is just phenomenal, and that you're willing to apply this to your team. I mean, you even mentioned how much that's impacted their teaching since as well, which is so cool.
We haven't talked about it yet, but I'm having random. We need to have another follow up with them, but having conversations here, and I can see it anyway. I can feel it, the energy, that vibration, that shift. Especially coming from the name, from living music to School of Loving Music, and then meeting with all the staff and talking about what that means. But they're not just talking about what that means, taking them through the process of of how I got to that. And as you even saw it in right there in the room, I think someone said, well, I really got that. That was amazing. Now I just need to transfer it to every other aspect of my life. you know. Um, And there certainly is a shift. There absolutely is a shift in the school and how we are going about things.
Brilliant. That's really cool. I'm glad you said that too, because that's what's so great about these premises is that we apply them to this one medium of music, but they're instantly transposable to every other area of our life as well. That's what I love about it. So cool. Because that's the thing about music. It can be something that's just on the side, you know. It's just something that we do as a hobby or just something that we do in our spare time or whatever. But as well as being able to take these premises and apply them to every area of your life, it also means that you can take music and make it at the center of your life, you know, as well, and not just be something that's on the side. Like if you were to see my setup here, like I coach and train for the most part, but I'm completely set up to play and practice music whenever I want to. I've got a little Spark amp here. I've got my two guitars behind me. Like whenever I want to, it's just there, you know. In fact, it's a good example. One of the things that I've come to, because it's all about leading with what you love as well. And because most of the time we don't. We do what we believe we need to do, and then we go, oh, then we can do what we love. Whereas it's like, well, I'll get all my jobs done first and then I'll practice my music. Whereas what I do is I practice my music, and when I have a break, I go and do my other jobs. You know what I mean? It's like, and that just changes everything, because I get to practice and play, and then you also have to have a break, and then during my breaks, I get to do my other stuff. You know, it's so amazing how it works. Anyway, I guess we should finish up, otherwise we'll just keep talking forever. Anything else that you'd like to finish up?
When you were saying that, I realized I've at my desk in my office, there's a guitar. I'm at home. I'm surrounded by 4 or 5 guitars. They're always around. And what I've learned is I'm always surrounded by instruments, but I haven't always played them. Often I've looked at them and thought I should play that. Whereas now I play them all the time. Or at least when I'm really tuned into it, I'll sit and play, and I don't have to really play anything in particular. I'll play whatever I'm playing, whatever I feel to play. But I've really noticed that shift, and now it's a conscious shift. In my office at work in the studio, I will become aware of what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, and I will consciously shift it. I will go and sit in another chair, and I will go to what I would love, and I will end up playing and working on a song. You know. That's probably the most amazing shift that I've had, and it's just seeing that, okay, this is what's going on here, and I can change it. I can change it right now. Seeing it at arm's distance, and then realizing, okay, I'm at a fork in the road here. That's not a path. That's not a path I need to take. It's actually a fork in the road, and I can change direction.
Cool.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a crossroads, it's a fork in the road. It wasn't a crossroads. You didn't have to sell your soul to the devil.
No. Crossroad. Fork.
Fork, cool.
Right.
I love it. I think the thing that I just love to say in finishing is pretty much what I started with. I just love the opportunity to do this with you. You know, the fact that we've kind of created this synergy with each other, and just the magic that we created in that first event, and I know the magic we're going to create together in this one, and then going forward as well, because this really is just the beginning of a whole new journey that we're going to take people on. It's like it's a transformational, magical, musical mystery tour.
Wow.
Song magical mystery tour. That's never been done before.
Yeah, roll on.
I love it.
I know we could talk forever, but before the last workshop, I was really watching my beliefs and assumptions. Like, this is crazy. It's never going to work. These teachers are going to think I'm nuts. I'm going to lose all my credibility. And it was the complete opposite. And that was I went last year. I worked with one of my staff. This year's 20. Now we're doing this. So I'm really excited about where else this is going to go. What else, what we can do together.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Love it. Excellent. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Darren.